Alright, what's going on? Welcome back. In this video, we'll go over some trade breakdowns over yesterday, Tuesday, February 17. And also a real quick shout out to one of our Discord members, RN who just got a $700 payout trading Virgin Wick theory. So very nice. Another one added to the board. Super cool. And then I also want to go over a misunderstanding with change instead of delivery, which seemed to catch a lot of people off guard yesterday, and there was a lot of confusion. So something I want to clear up later as well. But real quick, here's a strategy overview, summary of what we're trading, Virgin Wick theory. Here's a bullish example. Wait for Virgin Wicks, which is any wick that is untouched, to get closed through. So in this case, it gets closed through by an hourly bullish candle. Then that Virgin Wick level becomes a bullish point of interest, which we mark off. In the next hour, we drop down to the 1 minute time frame, wait for price to trade below the point of interest into some high time frame fair value gaps. Then we look for a change instead of delivery to the upside or an IFVG to the upside. All right. So let me quickly go over this. So this is during New York yesterday, 9 a.m. on gold. Okay, so it's a potential bearish setup, which I want to talk about, because people are going wild about this in the Discord. Okay, so here we are, 9 a.m. We have a bearish Chad candle closing through a bunch of Virgin Wicks. Some you can't even see off here. So strong bearish momentum. We want to look for shorts if POIs get engaged. So let's have a look. All right, POI gets engaged. Do we have higher time frame FVGs? Yes, perfect. Okay. So now all we want to see is either an IFVG or a SISD. And so okay, we'll get another sweep. And then this is where some people thought we had a change instead of delivery. And I can understand why. So I'm just going to turn off the FVG so it's a lot more clear. So we have a liquidity hunt or a liquidity sweep. So we take out this swing high and it gets taken out by this leg. So in this leg, you want to look for the highest up closing candle, which is this one, and the opening price of that one, which is this. So theoretically, this is your change instead of delivery, which is confirmed after this candle closure. And so if you wanted to enter a short, it could be something like that. And some people are saying, oh, my indicator didn't show anything. So let me turn on my indicator and it will not show. Why is that? Okay, so because think about the name change in state of delivery. It implies that the state has to change, right? So the state is either bullish or bearish. And so you cannot change from a bearish state to a bearish state. It's like, if my hair is black, I cannot change it from black to black because it is already black. It needs to go to blonde, and then I can change it to black, and then I can change it to blonde. Same thing with our state of deliveries. So if you notice from this point onwards, let's go here, we have shifted into a bearish state right here. Okay, so from this point onwards, we are bearish. Therefore, in order for us to become bullish again, we need to close above this level. Here is the level we need, because this is the leg down that took liquidity and put us into a bearish state. So if we want to ever change back to a bullish state, we need to close above this level here. And since we never get that close, this whole time we are in a bearish delivery state. Therefore, all of this is just nothing because we never ended up changing from bearish back to bullish. If we did something like that and we closed above and then we had a sweep and then came back down, sure, that's a change. But for those wondering why the indicator didn't print a CISD here, it's because we were bearish the whole time. So there's nothing to change from. You cannot change from bearish to bearish. Only one person in the Discord, WolfZ, shout out to WolfZ, he was able to explain this correctly. Everyone else is just like, well, my indicator's not working. Which is why I have starting to have a bit of a problem with indicators, because one, people are relying on or blaming indicators for not working, when in reality you just don't actually understand the model. You don't understand what a change in state of delivery is. So although this did end up playing out for plus 2R, there was no change in state of delivery, so there was no entry model here. So hopefully that clears up some confusion around SISD, because I see a lot of people saying indicator's not working, indicator's bugging out, etc, etc. No, you just don't understand it. Whew, all right, big SISD rant over. Moving on. This was 8 a.m. at gold. We had a bullish POI to work with, so potential bullish setup, but just no bullish FVGs, just like super conflicting, a bunch of red. So hopefully no one took any longs here, because that's just choppy. All right, what else do we have? Oh yeah, these two. I had a loss and then a win on this one. So I was slightly up yesterday with this pair. So this is during Asia on gold. We have a bunch of bearish points of interest to work with and some bearish FVGs. So looking good. POI has now been engaged. No entry model yet, no entry model yet. And bang, there is a stop hunt. And then we get a confirmed SISD there. So you can see a limit order here, stop above the high, targeting 2R, and I got stopped out. And then we had another chance at it, because we had these extended POIs that had not been engaged with yet, so they are still valid. So POI got engaged, and then we got a SISD here. Pretty strong SISD down, so I didn't think we were going to get a retest of it, so I just marketed in around here, and then, yeah, that went to 2R. Even if you market it in quite late, you'd still get a pretty nice 2R on this, yeah. So pretty nice. That was it for gold. Moving on to NQ. Okay, yeah, quite a few setups here. So there was a nice setup during 10 a.m. on New York session on NQ. And looks like I've categorized this as A+. So let's have a look. All right, bearish POI gets engaged. I would avoid all of this just because it's still really early. You want to let it develop a bit. And then bang, we get a nice push further into a 15-minute FVG, followed by an IFVG. So that's where you could enter, stop just above the IFVG. And then this is the tricky part. So I like to target 2R. Some people would just target the draw and liquidity right there. So it depends on your personal approach, this one. But everything else is A+. So we've got nice bearish POI, high time frame FVG, clear draw and liquidity. And it does take the draw on liquidity, so some people would have taken profits here. For me and the way I trade, I like to go 2R, so I would have went to break even right there. And then I would have got stopped out break even. But nonetheless, A+ setup, quite nice. Okay, what else we got? Some not so good setups here. So this is during London, 3 a.m. We have a bullish point of interest to work with. Ah, yes. And a very weak SISD. So we have some high time frame FVGs, which is good. No bearish FVGs in the way. But, okay, so why is it a weak SISD? Where is our stop hunt? So there's your stop hunt, which gets taken by literally just this leg. So the lowest down closing candle in that leg is this one. So the opening price, there is your SISD. A disgustingly weak SISD because one, it's a single candle. Secondly, it's a very small, pretty much like zero body candle. And it's just like, just a bunch of weak candles. It's not an aggressive V-shaped move, like bang, bang. And of course it gets stopped out. And then, oh yeah, I actually got out break even on this one. This one could have been a win. So we have another stop hunt because this swing low gets taken out by this leg. So in this leg, what is the lowest down closing candle? This one, but it is consecutive. So all of these are consecutive. So you want to look at the opening price there. There's your change in state of delivery. So a very strong SISD because we have so many consecutive candles and we close through it extremely strongly, leaving a FEG in the process. So I would say this is A- just because we are targeting a bunch of bearish FEGs, but we are supported by some bullish FEGs. So not the worst. So I actually marketed in before the close, like around like here or something. Yeah, let me just turn this off so it's cleaner. So there's your SISD. And then I got stopped out break even, like, yeah, I think right about there. And then this went on to actually end up being a winner. But I got out break even. But still, nice setup, strong SISD. That's what you want to see. What else we got? Another London setup at 2 a.m. Yeah, I didn't like either of these setups because, yes, we have a bullish point of interest to work with, but by the time you get an entry model, by the time you get a SISD right there, there are no remaining bullish fair value gaps. So no entry there. Even this one does end up playing out, but there are no bullish FEGs, so I don't love it. What else do we have? This was a Asia bearish short. Ah, yeah, I remember. So this one, okay, so yes, we have a bearish point of interest and we have some bearish FEGs, but by the time we get the change in state of delivery here, I just don't love how many candles it took to confirm this SISD. Like we just chop around, we chop around, we chop around. We go up and down through the PY so many times to eventually make this SISD. I just don't like it when we chop around this much. You want to see we want to see aggressive V-shaped reversals. Does this end up playing out? I think it does, yeah. So it does end up winning. I think some people won off this one. But for me that's A+, maybe B. Sorry, not A+, A-, maybe B+. And then same with this one. So let me go back here. bearish POI to work with at 9 p.m. during Asia on NQ. And we have some bearish POIs we tap into, so that's nice as well. And when we finally get a stop hunt here, and the SysD confirms right there. Because highest up closing candle, this one, consecutive with all these, opening price of that one, there is your SysD. But yeah, as you can see, I just don't love how many times we chopped through the POI. Like this POI got touched like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like 15 times before we finally got an entry model. So I just don't love that. I'd rather take a cleaner trade, but it does play out, and I think some people won off this one. So if your entry criteria is not as strict, then yeah, you could have won off this one. And maybe this is the one that got that dude the payout, who knows. But yeah, those are all the setups for the day, and hopefully that CISD explanation cleared some things up for you. And it was good to see another payout in the community. Hopefully we'll get some more coming. See you guys next time.